or welcome back to my channel. So you know I had to pick up this palette. This is like when two worlds collide for me. I love Natasha Denona and I love multichrome eyeshadow. So as soon as I saw the mini Triochrome palette reveal, I knew I was going to pick it up right away. I bought it on early launch. You could buy it like if you have a membership with the Natasha Denona website. And it got here really fast. I think I ordered it on Thursday and I got here on like Sunday morning, which is today when I'm filming this. So I'm going to do my usual format. I'm going to do an overview with some close-up swatches and descriptions, and then I have a ton of comparisons. So just some basic info. This retails for $27 USD. If you do buy it from the Natasha Denona website, I have an affiliate code, SEEKINGSHIFTS, that saves you 15%, and I do earn a small commission if you use that code. So thank you so much if you do use it. I'm also going to link it below with other retailers. Some of those may be affiliate links, so if you choose to swatch from those, again, thank you so much. It really helps support my channel and allow me to make more content like this. So this retails for $27 with the discount code applied. That's just under $23 for 5 pans. You get 3 powder matte formulas. These are her standard matte formula. You get 1 metallic and then 1 multi-chrome. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the descriptions of each shade. We'll start with the mattes. So this matte formula, I use them on my eyes already. I did a quick Reels tutorial. I can say, like, based on first impressions, these are definitely more of the kind where you want to pack it on and feather the edges rather than the kind where you want to like build, you know what I mean? Blue eyeshadows I've found seem to be pretty hard to formulate for matte. These were very easy to blend. They're pigmented, they didn't get any patchiness, they built on each other. So based on first impressions, I'm enjoying them, but of course wait for more reviews over time if you are on the fence about this one. So first one we have is called Voltaic, which is described as a matte medium royal blue, and this is just like a straight up cobalt blue to me. It's pretty neutral, as in not too warm, not too cool, and it's very vibrant. I was really excited about this one because I don't have anything like this in the Natasha Denona formula. I have warm tealish blues, I have pastel blues, but nothing that's this mid-tone / deepish true primary blue. Next one is called Stratus and is described as a matte dark royal blue. This is more similar to blues we've seen in some other palettes, for example the Metropolis palette and the Gold palette, although those are cream to powder formulas and this is a true powder matte. But I do compare it with the two closest blues I have in the Natasha Denona formula later on in this video. The last one we have is called Overcast. This is probably my favorite. It's described as a matte light periwinkle blue, and this is like a pastel, somewhat muted periwinkle blue. It's kind of similar to the blues in the Pastel palette from Natasha Denona. It's different to me. You'll see later on in the comparisons. I swatched them all together. Okay, now let's get into the multi-chrome. This is pretty much spot on in terms of formula for the multi-chromes in the Triochrome palette. So it's that very smooth, almost like thin formula, and it has some shine, but I would describe it mostly as like a satin finish. It's one that's like very quote-unquote flattering on the eyes. Like, I don't know if you ever have this happen, but sometimes when I put on a really high impact shade after I build up a look, I'm like, oh, I kind of wish I didn't do that. Like, you're not gonna have this happen with these types of formulas. Obviously, I prefer the more sparkly, shiny shades, but I think there is a time and place for me for these types of multi-chromes. When I'm in a particular mood, I will reach for the Triochrome palette because I do enjoy those more satiny finished shades. But anyway, this was surprisingly pretty unique. I thought it would be like that very common type of teal, blue, purple shifting multi-chrome. And it is a teal, blue, purple, but it's different, I swear. You'll see later on. I do so many comparisons with this in terms of tone. It's surprisingly pretty murky and muted in a beautiful way. It's deeper than I expected, and I mostly see teal and purple shifts. I mean, I think there is a blue in between them. They describe it as a blue, purple, green. I don't really see the green, but you'll have to let me know what you think. And I will say, I saw on their website, they have a look with a deep skin model and it looks absolutely stunning on them, like so beautiful. On me, it's a pretty deep shade, a little bit intimidating in terms of tone. As a seasoned multi-chrome girly, like, I knew how to build a look around this. If you're not super comfortable with color or deeper shades, I would say maybe this is not the palette for you. And then finally, this is probably the most boring shade in the palette, but this is called Aero, described as a metallic light silver blue. And this is one where I feel like on its own, it looks pretty silver, but when you swatch it next to a true silver, you really see the blue. It's like a standard metallic formula. It has a bit of sparkle. It was useful when I was making a look just using this palette because it brought some light and some texture to the inner corner, but overall, it's not the most exciting shade in this palette. I would say the most exciting part about this palette is the matte, because I'm just so excited to have these tones in the Natasha Denona formula because that's like my all-time favorite matte formula. Those are all 5 shades in the palette. Let's go ahead and get into the comparisons. Okay, first I wanted to swatch it with the full-size Triochrome palette because it says it is an expansion of that concept. So as you can see here, the textures of all the Triochromes in the palettes are very similar. However, the vibes are quite different. I think what makes the original Triochrome palette so special is the muted, murky, tertiary aspect to the tones of the mattes. Whereas with the mini Triochrome, I feel like it's very saturated and primary blue. I mean, you do have that one blue that's a little bit warmer leaning, but overall, it's a pretty straight shooting blue tone. It doesn't have that, you know, unique grungy aspect to it. Okay, and the only similar palette I had as a whole is this one from Shellwe Makeup, the Dream Escape palette. I did receive this in PR. Anything with an asterisk for the comparisons is something I received in PR. So this has that matte shade that is almost spot on for the middle shade in the Triochrome palette. It has a blue to purple shifting duochrome. However, this is more vibrant and flaky slash textured, and it also has that bluish silver sparkly shade, which is somewhat similar to the one in the mini Triochrome. However, this has more depth and dimension to it. It also has that red shade, which is like the outlier obviously, but if you're looking for something similar but more impactful, I would recommend this. They also have a mini that's like $15. Here are some comparisons for that first shimmer shade, Aero. I thought this might be helpful to understand the tone of it, or if you're trying to dupe out this palette and you maybe have something similar in your collection. From left to right, we have Now and Maybe Later from Looxi Beauty, Moonshine from Terra Moons, Firework from Glamshop, and then Aero from the mini Triochrome palette. The two leftmost shades are much more blue, like cool tone leaning, and then the Firework shade is a true silver. So you can see the Triochrome shade looks a lot more blue in comparison to it. Okay, here's the first group of comparisons for Strike, the multichrome in this mini Triochrome palette. From left to right, we have Rosette LIte from Clionadh, Mystery Woods from Shellwe. Side note, I just realized these are like pretty much spot on in terms of shifts. Then we have Tower from Clionadh, which is the closest I have texture-wise to the mini Triochrome shade. So I think out of these, the closest shades are Rosette LIte and Mystery Woods, but these are a lot more shifty, and I feel like they spend more time in that purple shift area, whereas the mini Triochrome shade spends more time in the blue teal area. Okay, here are some more teal leaning multichrome. So first we have Interdimensional from Terra Moons, Breeze from Shine by SD, Double Take Shellwe Makeup, Oculus LIte from Clionadh, and then Strike from the mini Triochrome palette. Interdimensional has a purple base, and the shifts are different, but I feel like maybe in practice it might be pretty similar. Then the next three shades have the same shifts, just different texture and base. Shellwe's Double Take is the most high impact and deepest base. They are similar, but they're more vibrant and warm tone compared to Strike, at least from my perception and on my skin tone. Okay, these really aren't similar, but I was curious, so I figured someone else might be as well, so I did include them. So from left to right, we have Abrasion from Clionadh, Interstellar from Terra Moons, Cosmic Dancer from Terra Moons, and Messier from Devinah compared to Strike from the mini Triochrome. These all have brown bases, and they're more neutral looking on the eyes, but anyway, here these are in case you're curious. Maybe it's helpful for context. Okay, for mattes, I just stuck with other Natasha Denona palettes. Otherwise, that's way too overwhelming to try to look through every single palette I own for similar shades. But from left to right, we have Bubble and Airy from the Pastel palette compared to Overcast from the mini Triochrome. I feel like Overcast in terms of tone is like right in between these two shades from the Pastel palette, but it's more pigmented and opaque, and it's a little bit deeper, I feel like. Okay, and finally we have Python from the Gold palette, Enigma from Metropolis compared to Stratos, and Voltaic from the mini Triochrome. So Python almost looks green here compared to these other blue shades. Enigma to me looks pretty spot on for Stratos, except this is a cream to powder. And then I really have nothing similar to Voltaic in the Natasha Denona universe. Maybe there's something in the Circo Loco palette that's similar, but I don't have that one. Let me know what you think of this palette. A lot of my audience I know is indie makeup enjoyers, so I think a lot of you're probably going to be underwhelmed by the multichrome in here, but I also do get a lot of comments from people saying they enjoy more subdued, smooth multichrome, so maybe this is something you might be interested in. Personally, for me, the mattes are so exciting. I'm really, if you look at the descriptions of my Reels tutorials and looks, I pretty much am using a Natasha Denona palette like every time I do a look, so I'm definitely going to be dipping in this palette for the mattes, and I think for the multichrome, I'll probably reach into this maybe to use as a liner for the most part, and I think maybe occasionally I will find a use for it, but I will definitely get my money's worth of this palette from the mattes alone. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video. I hope it was helpful. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and other than that, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!